It's the Wait a Minute Show.
Bruh. Ain't that right, Lil Pan? Wait a minute. Book it. Really? Really?
The Wait a Minute Show with your host, Jolani J.B. Bodie.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your man, Jelani J.B. Bodie, host of this thing called The Wait a Minute Show, and I'm back in the building once again to talk to you about sports like we always do here on the weekend and here in the ATL. We're getting a little closer and closer to summertime here, so don't worry. I know a lot of people that's in cold weather states are worried about how's the weather going on in Atlanta. Yeah, I know. You're not. I'm sorry. It was about 68, maybe. It was a chilly 68. I know. I'm complaining about nothing, but we are in the Lions Den Studios here in the ATL, and we are here to talk about sports. So, March Madness is going on. Got a little basketball stuff that we're going to be talking about, free agency news, and whatever else is out there. But we will be getting into a Big L award as well. Someone is going to take the L. I'm sorry, it's just going to happen. But don't go anywhere. Make sure you stay to the end of the show so you can see who wins the Big L Award. Speaking of the show, make sure, if you have not already, you're in there on the YouTube channel, liking and subscribing to the channel, and also turning on your notifications so every time that we go live, you can go ahead and get in on the fun, or you're just notified about it. You can get back to it at your convenience. But we appreciate all the support that you got out there. Now let's go ahead and not. He's looking at me crazy. So I was gonna get into the first order of business, but I guess I'm contractually obligated to do this. So ladies and gentlemen, I do not do this thing by myself. They're over there in the corner as always, making sure everything goes right. It is none other than my shy co-host, the L, the O, the P, the A, the N. So, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Lopan.
Indeed.
Thank you, Lopan. So, Lopan is now ready to go to talk about the sports, and I am too. So, we are going to just go ahead and dive right into it. The biggest news in sports this week, biggest news definitely in the NFL is Deshaun Watson, now formerly of the Houston Texans, has been traded. He removed his trade clause and he has been traded to the Cleveland Browns. Yes, the Cleveland Browns that were talked about to be out of the race. It was supposed to be down to the Saints and the Falcons. We'll get into that, in a little bit. But this is a big move by the Cleveland Browns. One, because they gave up 3 first-round picks, a second, third, and maybe a fifth, but they gave up a lot. Let's just say that in return, Houston is going to get those draft picks, and in return, Cleveland will get Deshaun Watson in a 4th-round draft pick. The other thing that makes this a monumental deal as well is that he signed a deal with the Cleveland Browns for $230 million. Now, why is that so significant? I'm going to tell you why it's significant. It is significant because it is fully guaranteed. What does that mean? Lopan, do you know what that means?
Indeed.
Yes, he does. Hopefully you do too. When fully guaranteed, we're basically talking about an NBA contract, okay? We're not talking about roster bonuses. We're not talking about incentives. We're not talking about, if he gets onto the Pro Bowl and all. If he plays one game this year for the length of the contract, one game every year, he's going to get his full $230 million. It's fully guaranteed. So that as well makes it, and this makes it more monumental because this is the most guaranteed money. We talked about Pat Mahomes and all that, about the $500 million and everything, but we already knew that whole deal, chances are he's not going to get all of that money. He's going to get all of that money. And the crazy part about it with Deshaun Watson was what happened, because the Browns were reported out of it. Now, reports were said that the Browns kept going and going and going and going, and then they finally pushed all their chips in and just said, 230, bro. What's up? And Deshaun said, he sound like he said 230, like all of it. Is that what they talking about? Is that what they talking about? Is that what they talking about?
Indeed.
He said, I'm on. Okay. Cleveland rocks. And now that is how Deshaun Watson became a Cleveland Brown. Now, I talked about the Saints and the Falcons because, like I said before, earlier, Deshaun Watson had told the Browns, like, it's been real, but I'm going to go ahead and pass. Of course, that was before all the money talk. The Saints and the Falcons was in it, and I can tell you here in the ATL, Falcon fans were excited. They were, but they were cautious as well. So it wasn't like Falcon fans were going around thinking that they just had this thing in the bag. They knew something could happen. They knew it was possible. They knew it was a challenge. Atlanta didn't have, the assets and everything, or, the resources maybe to offer what Cleveland was willing to offer. They weren't really willing to offer that. They had talked to Matt Ryan and everything, talking about they were going to, maybe hold on. Just hold on, Matt. We may be trying to move something here, which will require you to move as well. The Saints, I talked about them earlier about the cap that they were trying to get under, because they were $71 million under the cap, and they made all these cap moves to try and make it work. But I guess when someone says, I'll give you all of your money, not some of it, that will make you waive your no trade clause. So that's pretty much how this deal went through. Now, here's the thing about it now. What happens for Cleveland? What happens for Cleveland? Let me tell you. I talked about last week about Russell Wilson moving to Denver and how this immediately puts Denver into the conversation for Super Bowl aspirations. Now remember, key words that I am saying here, Super Bowl aspirations. Now with Baker Mayfield, people talked about they had a team that could do something special. I even talked on here and said that Cleveland was coming, and I backtracked off of that maybe a couple years ago because of all the things that was happening. But now, with Deshaun Watson, who is it is a unquestioned prime time quarterback coming to Cleveland, and you add guys in the backfield, if they can keep Kareem Hunt, they still got Nick Chubb. They just got Amari Cooper. It's crazy. Amari Cooper seemed like he was just going to fade off in the distance. Now, this is very interesting because it looks like he's going to be their number one wide receiver. Browns have already talked about keeping Jarvis Landry or trying to re-sign Jarvis Landry. I think this move right here will catch Jarvis Landry's eye and say, okay, maybe I don't want to go to Green Bay because they just traded away Devontae Adams. Maybe I don't want to go somewhere else because it's looking kind of nice right here. Then you add just the young talent that they got with Rashad Higgins. They cut Austin Hooper and they franchise tag, what's the kid name? The tight end out of Miami. Why am I drawing a blank right now? It'll come to me a little bit later on. But you see how everything is forming. Rashard Higgins, this young wide receiver that they got. They got Donovan Peoples-Jones out of Michigan, another young wide receiver. So when you put that receiver talent together with that running back committee that they have, and you got Kevin Stefanski, who should be an offensive-minded guy to go ahead and put these guys in great positions, you got to throw Cleveland into the mix as far as like Super Bowl aspiration. Now, we're going to talk about the AFC North because now it's really gotten crazy. And it has put some people on notice. But with the moves, just the early moves that they have made, they're trying to keep Jadeveon Clowney. You still got Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett is probably going to call J.J. Watt and ask him, like, what am I getting, bruh? What am I able to look forward to now that I have this quarterback of this tier on my team? Cleveland is going to be crazy. It's not going to be LeBron crazy, but it's going to be crazy. They are already fantastic fans just to begin with, and all the stuff that Cleveland has went through with the Browns, this is I won't say, this is just deserved, but this is going to make it very interesting. And finally, I guess I was maybe 3 or 4 years early in saying this, but the Cleveland Browns are coming, ladies and gentlemen. They are coming. And this will also move the needle in the AFC, because teams trying to get, value players, and they're like, I can play with Deshaun Watson. He's going to be the quarterback. We just seen what Matthew Stafford was able to do for the Los Angeles Rams. It's going to change the dynamic. It's going to be crazy in the AFC, but we're going to talk about the AFC North a little bit later on. But shouts out to people that's jumping in the Wait a Minute Show chat room. Mocha Bella, I see you in there. Appreciate you for jumping in. Country Roads, he's out there. He's already saying, boo, Cleveland. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Country Roads. It seems like the Falcons, they had hometown guy. He's from Georgia. That probably should have said it right there. It's too good to be true. That's why I just laid back. I fell, to the side. Lopan, was, saying, don't get caught up in the hype. Yeah, don't get caught up in the hype. I said, yeah, you're right. You're right. It was a small chance, but I guess they gave the effort. But now you got some other questions that you got to ask in the city of Atlanta that we're going to get to a little bit later on. But Deshaun Watson, now quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. Very, very interesting, entertaining. So we move on from there. And Lopan, what you got next? You got it right here in my face. I guess I should be paying attention. The AFC North. Now, what does this mean for the AFC North? It is going to be... Well, let me go back because I just saw something in the chat room. Country Road said he ain't Atlanta. So I don't know if this song has gotten out past Georgia, but if you're watching this, go ahead, look up Not Atlanta or something. But there's a young lady, I forgot her name, but she's out there rapping and she's basically got a song telling people certain cities ain't Atlanta. Because you got people around here saying, I live in the ATL, I'm from Atlanta and all that stuff. And then you find out they're from Stone Mountain. And Stone Mountain is like 40 minutes away. So they just letting people know that ain't Atlanta. So, yeah, he's not from Atlanta. He's a Georgia boy, but I get it. Funny. Very funny, Country Roads. Now, let's move on to the AFC North. The AFC North. I was talking about the AFC West being crazy. Now the AFC North. The crazy part, what I'm about to say, I don't know if people are really ready for this. Pittsburgh. You better catch up. You better catch up. Juju Smith-Schuster just left for Kansas City. You got Mitch Trubisky. You got Dwayne Haskins, you got Mason Rudolph, and I'm probably missing one other quarterback that they're going to have in the camp in Pittsburgh. You got a stud in Najee Harris. So your running back situation is good there. You got Deontay Johnson, the Claypool kid, out of Notre Dame and everything. So, but you got to get a quarterback now. Look at the AFC North. Bengals. We don't need to go any further than that. Lamar. You already know. I just saw him on the shop with LeBron, and he's talking about he's focused. He's ready to go ahead and take this thing to the next level. So you got those two teams. Now you add Cleveland with Deshaun Watson. Pittsburgh, I can't believe I'm saying this, but y'all got to catch up. Pittsburgh could finish 4th in their division. Now, it's going to be hard for Cincinnati to reproduce the success that they had because it truly is year by year. It's really hard to sustain that success for a long period of time. So people don't get it twisted. Just because Cincinnati was in the Super Bowl don't mean that they're just going to be showing up and they're going to be going 12, 13, or 14 games in the win column. That is hard. Plus, also, now you're on everybody's radar. Everybody's going to be getting up for Cincinnati. Everybody's going to be ready for Jamar Chase. Everybody's going to be ready for Joe Burrow. So that's going to be a transition for them. That's going to be a new challenge for them. But in their division, it's still going to be crazy. The AFC West and the AFC North. Let's just put it there. That's 6 division games in each division, right? So that's 12 games. They might put 12 games on prime time television of just the AFC West and the AFC North. So if it happens, I told you, but it's not gonna happen. But that's how entertaining the AFC conference is gonna be, and the AFC North. So Bengals, they got their challenges. Cleveland, I just talked about them. Lamar, you got to remember, Lamar's going to be getting back J.K. Dobbins. That was somebody that they were going to be dependent on a lot. They got this kid. Oh man, and the governor is gonna kill me because he rookie out of Minnesota. He went through some injuries this year, but once when he got healthy, he was a problem. Hollywood Brown, that's on this team. You still got Mark Andrews at tight end. And I just think even Gus Edwards should be back because Baltimore went through, for what Baltimore was able to accomplish for all the injuries that they had, it's amazing that they were able to do that. And they're going to have all those pieces back. So I think a lot of people forget that. The defense, they're going to fix the defense because the secondary struggled. But those three teams right there, that's going to be very interesting in the AFC North. So it's going to be crazy in the AFC North. So keep your pupils or your whatever, you keep your eyeballs set to the AFC North because it just got real and it just got exciting. So speaking of exciting, you listen to the Wait a Minute Show, or you're watching the Wait a Minute Show. Still getting used to the YouTube channel. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. But you're watching the Wait a Minute Show with your man, Jelani JB Bodie, and we're here talking about sports. And we're going to continue to talk about sports. And Steph Curry, it happened again. Why does this thing keep happening again? What am I talking about? I'll tell you that and more on the other side. We'll be back after these words.
Do you want your next Atlanta event to be memorable? If so, have Drink in Color at your next function. Drink in Color is sophisticated bartending that creates signature cocktails for your special occasion. Wow your family, friends, and business associates next time with Drink in Color. You can contact the owner, Kiki Lewis, at 678-813-7102. That's 678-813-7102. You can also email her at drinkincolor@gmail.com and follow on Instagram at drinkincolor. And tell her you were referred by the Wait a Minute Show. Drink in Color, cocktail catering. Let the cocktail sparkle at your next event.
Do you like making an impression? Who doesn't? Well, when you want to dress to impress for less, check out Rail Scott at Prime Ties to Go on Facebook and Instagram. Quality accessories for men and women at low, counted low prices. Everything from ties, bow ties, watches, bracelet, earrings to pocketbooks. Don't miss out. Check out Rail Scott, the owner, at Prime Ties to Go. That's Prime Ties, the number 2, Go on Facebook and Instagram.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and you are. Well, wait a minute. Lopan, you brought her back, right? Okay, all right. And you're listening to.
It's the Wait a Minute Show.
Yeah, on the YouTube channel, thewaitaminuteshow.com. Make sure you're following us also on the channel and the website. Go to thewaitaminuteshow.com and you can follow us on social media as well, Twitter and Facebook. Now, let's move back into this NBA talk. And Steph Curry is now out for 2 weeks due to a foot sprain that he had in a game against Boston. And let's just get to it. What does this mean for the Golden State Warriors? Wiseman has been out for an extended period of time. Their big man. He just had a setback with his recovery. He was supposed to start playing in the G League to get ready to come back up to the pros. Something happened with his current situation of getting back on the court, so that set him back. Golden State still did fairly well without him, but I do think, they would need him for the playoffs, so we don't know what's going to happen there. But if you ain't got Steph Curry, That's a whole other conversation anyway to be talking about. So what happens not having Steph Curry in the lineup for the next 2 weeks? Better the regular season than the playoffs. Like we saw before where he got injured, but they had such a talented roster. They could get through. I think they got through the first round. They might even got, through the second round without him, and he came back and he started playing. You don't want to take those chances this year with these teams that's out there. I've already talked about the West, the Phoenixes and everything before. We know how good they are, so we don't need to really talk about them at this point. This is all about Steph Curry getting healthy. If they're talking about 2 weeks, obviously they're going to do everything in the next 2 weeks, but I'm not really worried about it. I'm not really, and I forgot, I'll have Lopan pull up the standings here in just a second. It's right here, Lopan. Go ahead, right there. So the Golden State Warriors, even if they fall a slot, I still think they got enough talent. If you got Draymond back, because Draymond is supposed to be coming back, you got Clay, you got Wiggins, you got Poole, you got all these other players that's contributing to this team. I think you got enough to get through the first round. So they could play safe. And when I mean they could play safe, thank you, Lopan. Here go the standings right here. They are sitting in third place right now at 47-23. So they had a chance to catch the Grizzlies with Steph. They would have a chance to catch the Grizzlies, who sit at 48-23. No one's catching Phoenix. But you do got Utah that's 3 games behind them. So that's why I don't think that they would slide like that. So they should still be able to hold the position that they got. But you can play this thing safe right now with Steph. You can even play this thing into the first possible 2 games, because we're looking if the playoffs, you know how they say, if the playoffs were to start now, they're looking at playing the Denver Nuggets in the 6th spot. Jokic is a problem. Don't get me wrong and everything in Denver. That could be an issue for them. But if they needed a game or 2 into the first round to get Steph ready, I'm not really worried about it. Because there's 12 games left in the season. So we're looking at probably another 2 weeks, 3 weeks or whatever for to finish those games. That still gives Steph time. And then you got a couple games maybe that you can push him into the playoffs. But if we're talking about, him showing up game 4, game 5 of the first round, that's probably where I'm going to be worried. And that's where I'm going to start, looking to see what we can do. But as far as like right now, he's had this, injuries before with his foot. He should be able to recover. I'm not sweating it if I'm the Golden State Warriors. I'm monitoring it, but I'm not sweating it. Monitoring it, but I'm not sweating it. Well, let's just say that one more time. Let's see. In the Wait a Minute Show chat room, let me throw this in here because Country Road said, my Lakers will be a problem. Book it. Lakers will be a problem. There will be a problem. Yeah, math problem. Yeah, math problem maybe. That's all I got. But I will be fair to you, Country Roads, as far as like being a problem. I do believe this is a big if the team can come together and fully be healthy, Anthony Davis, he needs to get back sooner than later. I'll say that. Anthony Davis back healthy. LeBron back healthy. LeBron has been, nursing, some injuries. Westbrook, he figures out whatever slump that he's in, and everybody is able to play their role. Then I think going into the first round, they look like they probably going to be playing in the play-in, and I do think that they could do the play-in and get into the playoffs. So I'm not going to, totally just discount them on that. But going into that first round, if they got to see the Grizzlies, if they got to see the Phoenix, we saw what happened to them last time when they saw the Phoenix Suns. They got swept. So if they got to run into one of those teams, or even Golden State, if Steph gets back, they're gonna need everything to come together for this thing to work, because they've been trying to figure it out throughout the entire season, and they haven't been able to figure it out. The pieces that they have of what they thought could happen, it just hasn't happened. If it miraculously, and I shouldn't say miraculously, but if it all comes together in the playoffs, yeah, you're gonna have to keep an eye out for the Lakers. But I wouldn't say a problem. Let's just say that. I wouldn't say a problem. Mocha Bella is talking about her Heat in here. She's saying Heat Nation, they on fire. Yeah, you gotta worry about the Miami Heat. I'm gonna give respect to the Miami Heat. She want to talk about the Eastern Conference. We can get into the Eastern Conference here in just a moment. I'm still finishing up with Country Roads. Let's see. He also says smart, but playoff Bron plus AD plus Westbrook in the playoffs. We shall see. We shall see. So Mocha Bell want me to touch base on the Eastern Conference. Yes, we can talk about the Eastern Conference. So the Miami Lopan, pull up the Eastern Conference. Thank you, sir. Miami Heat are sitting at 47-24, followed behind by the Bucks, who are sitting in second place, and Philadelphia that is sitting in third. Now, I'm going to say this about the Miami Heat, okay? Being in first place really hasn't worked out for the last few teams, okay? 76ers, I think they finished in first, didn't work out. Bucks wasn't in first last year. They won the championship. Previous year before that, they were in first place, didn't work out. So with the Eastern Conference, it's so tight and it's so close. And then you still got to take in the fact that who is that? Where are they? Why am I having a break? Brooklyn, who's sitting at 37-34 in the A spot. Primarily, they're in the A spot because KD's been hurt. And you're expecting to get something from Ben Simmons. So I just think in the Eastern Conference, you got a lot of factors. You got a lot of teams that could get hot, that could, go off. Chicago could. Cleveland's going to be scary. That's a team that's young, don't know any better. They could go in. You're thinking maybe they, make rookie mistakes or first-time mistakes in the playoffs. So that could, come back and haunt them. Tatum in Boston, he's a beast. But Miami, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, and I say Chicago and the Brooklyn Nets. Those are my 5 teams that I really have close together. I know the standings don't show it like that, but once the playoffs start, everything's going to be played differently in the playoffs. And any of those teams, I think, could come out of the East. So it's a little bit different. But, yes, we're talking about the Eastern Conference as well. But I always like the Miami Heat because they're coached well, the organization is ran well, so you always give them a benefit of the doubt. Pat Riley is there, Eric Spoelstra, so you never count them out. But I think they got some challenges there with the other teams, with Philadelphia and Harden and Embiid. Like it's a lot of quality teams that's going to be knocking each other out in the Eastern Conference because somebody got to win. And there's no clear-cut favorite with this. I'm still sticking with the Warriors to win it all. Could be wrong, but that was my pick way before the season started, so I'm going to stick with that. Let's move on from that, and we're going to touch base on March Madness. Yes, college basketball is going on right now. I had the scores up. I'm going to pull it up myself, and we're going to take a look. Earlier today, North Carolina stunned college basketball by taking out Baylor 93-86. So Baylor, who was the defending champs, no longer able to defend that title anymore. And a surprise, I think, by some people, Michigan beats Tennessee 76-68. I don't know what Juwan Howard is telling these folks. Just a joke. But I don't know what Juwan is doing, but he is inspiring these kids and getting them pumped up. This is the second win in the tournament. Now they're moving on and they take down number 3 Tennessee, but this is how the brackets have been going. Mine is in shambles. The one that I got, I should have never listened to Lopan and let him pick or tell me who to pick, because if I had just trusted myself, I might be in this thing. I only got a few teams still left in it, so I'm holding out hope to see if that works out. But March Madness has been actually what it is. It's been madness, and it's been I think it's been crazier. Maybe it's just me, but I think it's been crazier when you have Kentucky, who loses. And I was talking about this, is that these teams, when you go into this tournament, you really have to believe. I don't know if the top tier teams, when they go in, if they really believe that the first round they could be out. As crazy as it seems, as much evidence that is out there that shows you do not want to play around in the first round of this tournament, because anything could happen. It still happens. We had a close game. Who was that? Creighton and Kansas. Kansas almost lost. Just madness that's been going on. And current games we got going on right now, St. Mary's and UCLA, they're in the second half, 54-47. UCLA is up. St. Mary's and Murray State St. Peter's and Murray State just started. It's 11-9 there in the first half. And you got a bunch of games that's going to be followed up later on. We'll be off the air by the time they tip off. But March Madness has definitely lived up to its name. And here we go in the chat room. Mocha says Jelani always blames Lopan when he loses.
Indeed.
That's not true, Lopan. That's not true. I don't always blame Lopan. It's just I put a vote of confidence into Lopan because I want to show him I trust him. But he continues to let me down. That's what this is about. But I don't want him to think that I've given up on him. So I continue to try and show that vote of confidence into Lopan. But it doesn't work out that way. So I'm not blaming. I'm just stating what the situation is, Mocha Bella. Because if you point the finger, it's three more pointing back at you. Ain't that what they say? They say that all the time, right?
Indeed.
That was just for the audience. You didn't have to agree with me on that, Lopan. But you do be giving me bad information. So, Mocha Bella says she had Baylor in her Final Four. I think I had Baylor in my Final Four as well. I think Kentucky. And it doesn't matter, man. It's in shambles. I should have. Next year. Right now, I'm saying it right now. Next year, I'm gonna pick my own picks. Lopan, I appreciate you. I appreciate the help, but I'm gonna pick my own picks. So then that way, if it's in shambles again, it's completely my fault. Yeah, I'm blaming Lopan. Yeah. So, but March Madness, it is what it is. It is enjoyable. What's also enjoyable is talking sports with you guys here on the Wait a Minute show, and we're going to continue to do that on the other side of the break. We are going to get into pro days. Think about this. Pro days. When we get back, is pro days really necessary for some folks? Is it really? Is it really necessary? We'll get into that and more. We'll be back.
Do you want your next Atlanta event to be memorable? If so, have Drinking Color at your next function. Drinking Color is sophisticated bartending that creates signature cocktails for your special occasion. Wow your family, friends, and business associates next time with Drinking Color. You can contact the owner, Kiki Lewis, at 678-813-7102. That's 678-813-7102. You can also email her at drinkincolor@gmail.com and follow on Instagram at drinkincolor. And tell her you were referred by the Wait a Minute show. Drinking Color, cocktail catering. Let the cocktail sparkle at your next event.
Do you like making an impression? Who doesn't? Well, when you want to dress to impress for less, Check out Rail Scott at Prime Ties to Go on Facebook and Instagram. Quality accessories for men and women at low, count it low prices. Everything from ties, bow ties, watches, bracelet, earrings to pocketbooks. Don't miss out. Check out Rail Scott, the owner, at Prime Ties to Go. That's Prime Ties, the number 2, Go, on Facebook and Instagram.
He's the brain of operations.
I'm telling you right now, book it!
And him, he's along for the ride. But together, they bring you sports like you've never heard before. The Wait a Minute Show, a new way of discussing today's trending sports topics. And now, back to the show with your host, Jolani J.B. Bodie.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, so we are back, and during the break, I got some news from one of the subscribers. Yeah, I like saying that. Subscribers, Mocha Bella, she said, you saw Teddy Bridgewater sign with my Dolphins. He coming home to the 305 where he grew up and played football. That is news to me. I hadn't heard that. But, yeah, why not? Why not? Back up Tua. If Tua don't play well, they'll go ahead and put in Teddy. Why not? And he's at home. So, yeah, everybody like, the hometown kid coming back. But they need some depth. They need Jacoby Brissett is gone. I think Jacoby Brissett is in Cleveland now. So, yeah, having Teddy Bridgewater there, you get that veteran leadership. He'll help Tua. But also, if Tua goes down, you got a guy that's going to be able to step in, has played some games, has been in playoffs, and is not as scared of the moment. So that is a good pickup. Country Road said, I got UNC versus Duke in my Final Four. Iowa let me down. Iowa, among other teams, let you down, Country Road. So, yeah, join the group. So let's get into Hurst to say, my Michigan Wolverines, not basketball, but football. So this news was yesterday. David Ojabo, linebacker, formerly of the Michigan Wolverines, who was going into the NFL draft, was having his pro day, and he suffered, unfortunately, an Achilles injury where he's going to miss 6 months. Well, he's going to have to do 6 months of rehabbing. And this is at his pro day. He was projected to be a first-round pick, and people start asking, and people have asked this before, so I'm just asking it now. People have asked the question about, should we really be having pro days for certain players? For a player of his stature, should he really be having a pro day? And I got thinking, and I'm like, you could, possibly right. There's some things to think about there. I'll say that. I'm not on board yet of saying, yes, you need it, or no, you shouldn't do it, or anything like that. But I will point out some of the factors to take into consideration. I look at somebody like, who can I say? There's only a few players. Let's just say that. I won't speak of any particular person, but he was scheduled to go in the first round. Now, obviously, with his pro day, hoping that he can go ahead and move up and maximize as much as possible in that first round. He went to the combine, and people are speaking like, well, hey, he went to the combine. That should be good enough. Pro day should really be for some of the other players that didn't get invited to the combine, or they're trying to get some attention, or get some looks, so maybe they can make the team or get an invite as a free agent, or possibly catch the interest of a team to be drafted. Now, here's the thing about that, though, is that if those players are not actually, and when I'm talking about the top players, if they're not actually participating in the pro day, that could limit teams going to that school. Because you got players, and I've seen this before, and I've heard it before, where a quarterback will say, I'll have my pro day So player X, Y, and Z, my wide receiver and somebody else, they'll get that shine that they normally wouldn't have. So the scouts can see them. So that's the risk that you run if you're talking about players not doing a pro day. I get it. You want to protect that player because right now it's just like will he drop? We look at a guy like Jalen Smith, who was at Notre Dame, although he got hurt in the last game, but he dropped in the draft. So this is possible that David could drop in the draft as well. Someone still may take a chance on him. And Achilles injury wasn't what it used to be. Achilles injury used to be you're going to be gone for a very long time. Like I said, they're talking about 6 months. So he could still get back. What are we in? March? So he still could get back and play during the season. But it begs a question. It's a good question. And it's not necessarily a right answer or a wrong answer, but it is something to think about. Is that if I'm in a position where I pretty much have put myself to get into the first round, do I really need that? Because a lot of times also you do these private workouts, or the teams want these private workouts. So you got your pro day, you got the combine, you got private workouts. It's like how much is really, is really needed. You got your game film, you got what you did in college. All that stuff still doesn't transfer over into success in the NFL. We've seen plenty of guys that went early in the first rounds and it just hasn't worked out. But the other side of it is if you're doing that and then you're trying to avoid injury, then that's kind of setting yourself up, because then you're walking on eggshells, and instead of just going like you would normally do, you start watching and trying to take calculated steps, and then you can make a mistake and still get yourself injured, or maybe cost yourself, something. So it's something to think about, on both sides. Mocabella says injuries happen, so unfortunate for him. Yeah, you're absolutely right, and that's another point that Mocabella makes a good point, is that injury, freaking Brian Greasy, and I hope he wasn't lying, but he was at home and slipped and fell down the steps, so it could happen at any time that you can get injured. So why not just go? So there's great points on both sides on it. I just say at the end of the day, I would, if it was me, and let's just say I was like a Trevor Lawrence, right? And there was no question that I was going to be the first overall pick, something like that. That's not every guy. That's just a very small, minute percentage of players. Yeah, maybe I wouldn't. But then again, you take that opportunity, to help out your teammates as well. So it's hard, but I see both sides of it. I still haven't made my decision, and I think it would just really depend. If I'm number one overall pick, and I probably don't. I probably just say, I'll do a private workout, for you guys. I'm only going to do this, that, and third, or whatever. You see my tape, and it is what it is. There's a reason they're talking about me being one overall, or 2, or 3, or something like that. So it's tough. And I'm hoping he can bounce back, because he's got a very interesting story, and this is a dream come true for him. So I'm hoping that some team is going to take a chance on him. I'm hoping that he can come back from this, and I'm hoping that he can play very well, and then we never have to talk about this again, and just say, oh, it was just a minor setback. Speaking of minor setbacks, and Lopan, move to the screen. Minor setbacks. Baker Mayfield. Now that we talked about at the beginning of the show how Deshaun Watson is headed to Cleveland, so obviously we know Baker Mayfield is not going to be there. There were already rumblings about Baker Mayfield saying that he wanted out of there and the relationship wasn't, that great. He's been rumored, to want to go to the Colts. I can see that, why he would want to go there. They have, pretty nice squad to play for. But I don't know if that's necessarily the Colts are, interested in that because Jimmy Garoppolo is still out there. So they could be looking at Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, there's some other teams that made me wonder, like, where could Baker Mayfield go? My Detroit Lions popped up because I'm like, I wouldn't be surprised if they try and get, another number one, quarterback to come in there. But I think they are still, sold on Jared Goff. So I think that's a small, very small possibility. The other team I had on here was the Falcons. And I say that because it goes back to the Deshaun Watson thing. How does Matt Ryan feel now that knowing that the Falcons, and I'm sure this is not anything new to him, but it may be new that it's coming from the franchise, is that they were going to move on from him had they got, Deshaun Watson. They may still move on from him because now they're talking about maybe Matt Ryan ends up in Seattle. So you got to get another, quarterback in there. Maybe they go, that route with Baker Mayfield. Other team, Pittsburgh. I just bring them up because that would be another quarterback to add. But I seriously do not think that the Cleveland Browns would trade him to the Pittsburgh Steelers in the division. Unless they just like totally, well, maybe they think he can't play anymore or something like that. Or maybe they think something else about him. And I was going to use Donovan McNabb because remember Donovan McNabb got traded to Washington and everybody was like, wow, you traded him in the division. And it didn't work out that well while he was in Washington. So it was like, whoa, did the Eagles know something that everybody else didn't know? Maybe, but it just didn't work out. But I don't see him. He's a lot younger and I don't see them, trading him to Pittsburgh. Not a move that they would want to do. Carolina, I think Carolina could be an option. Carolina wanted Deshaun Watson. They're out on that. They went with the Sam Darnold route. He started out good, but now, he's struggling. They brought back Cam Newton. I don't know if Cam is still going to be there. It's a lot of questions at the quarterback. So maybe Carolina takes a sniff and say, well, what's going on with Baker Mayfield? But wherever he goes, I don't know if there's going to be a team that is really going to be set on saying, this is the guy we want as our starting quarterback. I think they will have someone else in there, and he'll do just like he did before. He's not new to it. He did it in Oklahoma where he had to go and win the starting position. But it's a lot of teams. I think that probably would be interested in Baker Mayfield. So I don't have an answer where he would go. I don't know if anything makes sense. Country Rose, here he go. He said, I'm going to put this at the top. If he ain't black or mobile, it ain't coming to ATL if Arthur want people in them seats. Oh, man. So let's talk about some other free agency moves that went on as well. Matthew Stafford got, and that shouldn't be free agency, just football moves. Matthew Stafford got a 4-year extension for $160 million. Winning a Super Bowl will do that. Cashing in on what they wanted you to do will do that. So that's not a surprise. The Rams did trade Robert Woods to the Titans for a 6th-round pick. And I was wondering what they were going to do with Robert Woods because they just signed Allen Robinson. So if you got Robert Woods, you got Allen Robinson, it looks like they're going to be trying to keep Odell. You got Odell. They're not getting rid of Cooper Kupp. So it's like someone was going to be the odd person out. And I forgot about Van Jefferson, who's also, on this team. Someone was going to be the odd person out. And that's going to be Robert Woods. And he's going to be traded, to the Titans. He will be a good asset to them to go with A.J. Brown. The Julio thing didn't, really work out for them. Unfortunately, it is what it is. But now he's going to be a Titan. Falcons, they re-signed Cordero Patterson to a 2-year deal for $10.5 million. I'm not surprised by that. I was thinking that would happen, and I was thinking he would stay in Atlanta. And crazy as it is, this is the first team that Cordero Patterson, I think Phil Yates pointed this out. This is the first team that Cordero Patterson has re-signed with. Since he's been in the league, he's never signed a second contract with a team. And now he's done that with the Atlanta Falcons. I'm interested in seeing how they're going to utilize him They just added Damian Williams, so your backfield is still going to be added with an extra back. Falcons did lose Calvin Ridley for the year, and Russell Gage is gone to Tampa Bay. So there will be some opportunities at the wide receiver position for Cordero, but I still think they will use him in the manner that they were using him all over the field. I think it's going to be different. It's going to be different, and it's bothering me. So I'm going to do this right now while we're talking, because David Njoku, that's who I was trying to remember for Cleveland for the time, and then I didn't even have to pull it up. It's just like once when I saw the Cleveland Browns. So when I was talking about Deshaun earlier, about the pieces that he was going to have and who they franchise tag, they franchised David Njoku. That was a tight end out of Miami. So, and they cut Austin Hooper. So that was the other person. One other person, the wide receiver. I gotta get it while we're here. Give me one moment. Rashad Bateman. Yes, Rashad Bateman. A lot of people don't know about Rashad Bateman. The governor of Minnesota knows about Rashad Bateman. He can tell you. But he showed some signs and he showed some flash this past season. But he had got injured. So with Rashad Bateman, Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins, Mark Andrews, Hollywood Brown, Lamar Jackson, it's going to be interesting. So those were some names that, for whatever reason, they were just not in my head, but I had to go back and get them out of my head. Now, what I got out of my head, now I got to get it off my chest, ladies and gentlemen. It is time to hand out this Big L Award. And if you are new to the Big L Award, it's the Big Loser Award. Because sometimes we just take an L in life. So sit back, relax, and get ready for the Big L Award.
And you are one pathetic loser.
Let's go.
We're gonna see the best collection of losers this park's seen for many a year.
You made me feel like a loser!
La loser.
Le who? The her.
So I hope y'all are ready, because I'm going to go ahead and get to it and get this over with. The game of basketball is really simple. You got 5 people on one side, 5 people on another side. They come together and they try and outscore each other, and one scores more points than the other. That's the game of basketball. Simple, right? What's also simple is who's playing against who. The road team versus the home team. But earlier this week, it wasn't so simple. Memphis Grizzlies taking on the OKC Thunder. Everybody's in their warm-ups. They shooting, laying up. Ja over there spilling like a helicopter, just levitating, hanging in the air, throwing stuff down and everything. And nobody paid attention because everybody was dressed until it was time to go to half court. Both teams showed up in the same color jerseys. All of them wearing white jerseys. You don't know who playing with who. It just looked like a gang of or a pack of people that play on the same team. And it's just like, when did Steven Adams start playing for both teams? It's like, whoa, no. So what happened? Everybody talked to each other. They say, hey, we're going to wear these colors. You're going to wear that color. What happened? Did someone just put it down and they scratched it out and then they wrote it back or something? Did an email get missing? Did someone do a friendly handshake and say, well, we'll flip it up or whatever, or you guys do? What happened? Who did it? I don't have the name for it, but it must be brought to our attention, ladies and gentlemen, is that you got to get the colors right, because you know why this game was delayed? Because somebody had to go in the back and get dressed again. Then you're trying to figure out, well, who's going to go in the back? Who got some different clothes? Do we got to make a rush? Do we got to order? Do we got to play and practice clothes? What's going on? And you know NBA games be starting at 7:30, 8 o'clock. Bro, I got to be to work tomorrow. We need to get this game started. So for whoever it was that didn't get the communication together, and they got both teams out there dressed in white, you got to take this big L.
See? Another loser.
Indeed. As well, Lopin. I got my 5. You got your 5. We're going to come together. But we all are alike. Because we all got white jerseys on. Everybody just looking at everybody like, whoa, like Ricky Bobby. They just hands. What we going to do? What we going to do? What we going to do? Who going to get dressed? There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Another episode of the Wait a Minute Show in the books, man. I hope y'all had a good time. March Madness is going on. Well, I think Monday is officially spring. Officially spring? We're getting out of winter? Well, some of us are getting out of winter because it's getting warmer down here. I don't know about you, wherever you at, especially if you're up north, but it's getting warmer down here. So hopefully you're getting ready for spring cleaning. Hopefully you were able to adjust to the time. All that. So everybody have a good weekend. Rest of the weekend, what's left of it. Get ready for Monday, man, to get your day started, get it going like you always do. And we'll holler at you later. Shouts out to Mocha Bella. Shouts out to Country Roads that was in the chat. Shouts out to the people that's going to be watching this later. So everybody, just be good. Be good to yourself. Love one another. Love yourself. And I'll holler at y'all later. So for your man, Jelani JB Bodie, 2 things as always. Stay positive and push forward. And I'll holler at you later. Lopin.